stillness meditation. This is our time where we commune with Spirit. We allow ourselves to be fully enveloped in the timeless, eternal light, love, grace, and beauty of God. So our stillness meditation, I will center us, meaning we'll take ourselves from that place of thinking and analyzing. We'll move into that sweet space of no thoughts and no words. We'll experience, to the best of our abilities, the grace, the bliss, the nirvana of communion with the soul. And then I'll bring us out in a wave of prayer. So I'm going to invite you to go ahead and find a place to get comfortable. If you need to close a door, draw the blinds, whatever it is to make yourself comfortable, go ahead and do that. If there's any other devices that you need to turn off besides this one, go ahead and do that. And then find a comfortable place to sit down. And as you find that comfortable place, I invite you just every once in a while to try something different. If you normally sit lotus style or Indian style, maybe you want to sit with your feet on the ground. Otherwise, you can switch it out a different way. Our intention is to allow all the channels, all the meridians of the physical, the emotional, and the mental bodies to be completely and fully open to their divine frequency. With that being said, I'm going to invite you to go ahead, and if for any reason you want to do this as an open-eyed meditation, I'd find one singular point to focus your eyes on. If your eyes wander, your mind will wander. Otherwise, I'd say probably 90 to 99% of us do it with closed eyes, and we want to do that so we can open the inner eye. However you're going to do it, we will allow it to be wonderful and magnificent. And with that being said, we are ready to begin. As always, we begin by first giving ourselves permission to relax. Just saying to ourselves in our minds, I give myself permission to relax. As we invite, as we evoke, and as we allow the divine energies of peace and beauty, wellness, goodness, grace, and calm, to slowly and gently lift us into the timeless dimensions of our soul. We take a moment without changing anything, and I invite you to bring your awareness to your breathing with the intention that your breath is to become fuller and fresher and wider and deeper, with the intention that we allow our breath to become equalized, that the inhalation and the exhalation are in full balance with each other. And so I invite you to imagine for a moment that you're breathing through your crown, that you're inhaling the energy through your crown, down along your spine into your hips, where the breath rounds forward at the tailbone, and as you exhale, you can feel it rise up in front of your body and release from your crown. The full breath. Some experience it as the breath of light. For some, feel and sense and see sparkles of tingling light. As you inhale that energy, you may see or feel light sparkles come in through your crown, travel and tingle down along your spine into your hips. And thus begins the luminosity of the body. A contagion of relaxation begins to flow and glow itself as we only and allow the breath to just return to its natural homeostasis. homeostatic state of balance. Inhaling, drawing that breath in through your crown, down into your hips. Exhaling, feeling it release up the front of your body and releasing. And then letting go. Letting go and allowing your breath to become fuller and wider and fresher and deeper, all on its own. I invite you to bring your awareness to your third eye as we awaken our divine sensorium, allowing the outer eyes to merge with the inner eye. No efforting, no trying, but as you focus on that point in the middle of your brow, you may feel some tingles. You may feel a little pressure. You may see colors or images. You may just see darkness. You may notice an eye with an eyelid open and look around. Whatever you see, whatever you sense, just allow your third eye to awaken. And then letting go. I invite you to bring your awareness to your left ear, to your right ear, and with intention and observation, allow the outer ears to merge with the inner ear, tuning and opening to the sound of the still small voice, the voice of truth, providence, and the soul. As we allow the inner ear to align and open, we let go. And I invite you to join me as we allow the surface mind to merge with the higher mind, which means we are letting go of all attachments to time and space. We deliberately allow ourselves to let go of the past, to let go of the future, to let go of the present, and open fully and completely to the eternal. As we awaken our divine sensorium, that we may heal, hear, see, feel, know, sense, from a place of truth, you begin to feel your entire physical body going even deeper. As that breath of light has spread all the way down to the toes, all the way up to the crown. You begin to notice that homeostatic vibration of rejuvenation is beginning to pulse through all of the organs, arteries, veins, muscles, and tissues. Everything is soothing, softening, and strengthening. That energy begins to flow and glow, ripple and roll into the emotional body. And we allow our emotions to be fortified in their natural, timeless state of unconditional love, compassion, peace, and understanding. And we feel that energy moving through the mental body to taking us even higher. Now we commune with universal intelligence, the mystical, magnificent nature of providence and revelation. We open to the call of the soul that is beyond words and beyond thoughts. And we allow ourselves to be so receptive to the rejuvenation and the inspiration. And it is here, as the energy ripples out into the bliss body, that we allow ourselves to rest, to rejuvenate, and to relax. And should your mind wander at any time, just bring it back to the breath of light, the inhalation and the exhalation. We rest and relax in the stillness. come back into a lucid state of divine awareness, to know that as we commune with God Almighty, God All Good, all things are made fresh and brand new. And so we allow ourselves to open into the freshness and the newness of new beginnings. We allow ourselves to open into that eternal frequency, that we may ground heaven on earth and remember the truth that the universal presence and intelligence that is dynamically and effulgently, intelligently, magnificently expressing itself everywhere right now, in the furthest reaches of the farthest galaxies to the closest, most intimate recesses of our cells and bones and tissues. The light of God, the love of God, the grace, the beauty, the intelligence is right now beating our hearts, circulating our blood, breathing our breath, hearing through our ears. We open to that holy light, and we know that there are no less than thousands of operations going on just in your own body temple right now that are geared towards homeostatic brilliance. And that omnipresence of magnificent light that is everywhere, always expressing as good, as beauty, as love, as grace, as joy, as peace, as harmony, as effulgent abundance of all magnificence. We open to that, and we remember that just as the drop of water is to the ocean, as the beam of light is to the sun, we are that. We are the microcosmic expressions of the Most High, the angelic beings that have said yes to a greater and grander experience of our oneness with God, to know what it means to be fully encumbered by the holy light of our soul, that the law of radiance shines so brilliantly that it illuminates our personality, it illuminates our traits, it illuminates everything, that we are not bound by anything other than the brilliant light of radiance. We open to the great remembering of who we truly are, and know that infinite benevolent potential and possibilities only and always reveal themselves as we commune and connect with them. And so I'm grateful to know that we are all communing and connecting with that right now. And as we bathe in this energy, we allow the law of transmutation to bring before us a healing and a revelation of the truth that sets us free. And that we always and only grow and expand, heal and rejoice in benevolent and beautiful ways. This is our nature. This is the nature of life. There is no difficulty in the divine. There is no opposition. There is no separation from the glory and the good of the kingdom of heaven. And so we say yes to a greater and grander experience of this, and how good it is to just relax, to deliberately commune with the energy of the soul, with the universal presence, to allow that bliss, that goodness, to lift us even higher into greater and grander revelations, greater and grander inspirations, greater and grander clarity, good to greater good, glory to greater glory. This is what we choose right now. And as we have previously done, as we have let go of the tethers and ties to time, we choose to be in the world but not of the world. That we allow the impulse of our soul to be so powerful that it is the only thing that motivates us. It motivates us through enthusiasm. It motivates us through inspiration. It motivates us through joy and kindness. And it brings us into that homeostatic great place of brilliance and beauty that allows us to be good at giving and good at receiving. So I'm grateful to take this moment knowing that each and every one of us has everything we need to receive our blessings, to bestow our blessings. And right now, in a space of spiritual selfishness that denies nothing to anyone but fortifies us and amplifies us with more life force energy than ever before. For we know in the divine, the energy of our soul, there is no such thing as aging or degeneration. There is only rejuvenation, regeneration, and expansion of good. And so we open to that. And as we have already awoken our divine sensorium, we say, "Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth," meaning we are available to that impulse. And that we are guided and directed, united and connected in this. And so we move into that space of grounding heaven on earth to, through, and as our beingness. We bring our awareness to the bottom of our energy field. And like the roots of a tree in the most fertile soil, as photosynthesis takes part above in the branches and the leaves, we bring that energy of the divine down into the roots. We feel the merging and the converging of allowing ourselves to participate, to walk on holy ground. We bring our awareness down to our earth star at the bottom of our energy field. That brilliant starburst of emerald green and white light, as many have seen, and we ground heaven on earth, peace on earth, love on earth, wellness on earth, prosperity on earth, harmony on earth, mutual beneficial reverence, kindness, love, and respect on earth to, through, and as our beingness. So I invite you to push the energy down through your legs into your feet. Push the energy down to your earth star. Push it. Push it. Participate in grounding heaven on earth. A little visceral movement. We ground it so, we claim it so, we allow it to be so as you just relax your body, emotions, and mind. And as we come back into a lucid state of awareness, we move into a place of gratitude and thanksgiving, knowing it is already done in the mind of God. Bliss, grace, beauty, already done to, through, and as our beingness. And we agree to it. We allow it to be even better, even more magnificent by claiming it and saying, "And so it is." Amen. And as you open your eyes, as we come back in the energy for a moment, really allow yourself to let it integrate into your bones, cells, emotions, and mind. We're getting ready for our Sunday service. We've just completed our meditation. We're getting ready to go into our music and our message, which is going to be starting in just a couple minutes. So if you need a bathroom break, be real quick, come back. 10:30 is when we are beginning in just 2 minutes. So we will see you in a few, or a couple.
Good morning, Soul Center. My name is Patricia Griffith, and it's my great joy to welcome all you beautiful emanations of God this morning. And I want to take a moment before our service officially starts and really acknowledge Reverend Keith and Jerome for all they've done week after week to keep this going, in the studio, and really, really appreciate their efforts and absolute, dedication to making it work. So thank you all for helping me extend our gratitude. I do have a couple of announcements. Our Soul Center OC Prayer Chaplaincy program is in full swing these days. The orientation for that and the practicum will be on Saturday, September 12th. If you're interested in the program and need to find out more about it, you can come earlier in the morning for the orientation, and stay all day if you want, and then the practicum happens for the rest of the day. So please join us on September 12th. That information is on the website as well. Our soul circles, which is our small groups for connecting, are just flourishing. We're getting so much feedback from people really enjoying the opportunity to dive a little deeper and be with the community. Has just been beautiful. So if you haven't taken the step to be a member of a soul circle, please feel free. There's lots of opportunity. All you have to do is email info@soulcenteroc.com and we'll get you all set up. Of course, every Tuesday night we have our powerful Course in Miracles study group with Akili Beckwith. It's just a beautiful opportunity to come together in some real truth teachings that are very transformative. And you don't have to sign up forever. You can come in and out if you want. And it's a beautiful, beautiful coming together. And we do want you to sign up for our newsletter, please, so you can find out about all these wonderful things. And we're going to move right now to Jerome and our reading. Thank you, and welcome. It's a beautiful Sunday.
Good morning, everyone. Our reading this morning is from Kim Stanwood Terranova's book, The Technology of Intention, entitled Conscious Creation, Name It, Claim It, Create It. Staying conscious is the most important job we have right now. I'm not referring to staying awake in our bodies, although I am pointing to staying conscious in our awakened bodies. We are always responsible for our life experience, and the moment-by-moment choices we make define what those experiences will be. Staying conscious in our choices and the decisions we make is crucial. We are creators, and with every breath, we are engaging in the creations of our life experience. The choices propel power into motion, and if we are not conscious of what we choose, then we are creating by default. The law of cause and effect does not take a day off. The universe is always with us, responding to our thoughts, wishes, and the practices we have in place. It is the divine teacher of responding. Let us be divine students and be willing to stay alert and awake in all that we create. Let us pray with Reverend Keith.
Yes, let us stay awake and alert with all that we create, and the way we do that is we turn within. And we turn within, so I'm going to invite you to join me as we turn within in this moment. We turn within to the prayer field, the portal that lifts us from time and space to the eternal, that takes us from the finite to the infinite. And so how grateful I am that each and every one of us has said yes right now, by virtue of the fact that you are tuning in right now. You are not only tuning into this service, but you are tuning into the primordial voice and call of your soul. We are tuning into infinite good, infinite supply of magnificence, and infinite glory. And so we open our hearts, our bodies, our minds, our souls right now. And we allow ourselves to move into the space and remember that ever-expanding good, that which God Almighty, all good, all light, all love, is only and always expressing every moment of every day eternally, is shining to and through and for us. We allow ourselves to know what it means to have it be for us and through us, as we remember that we are born in the image and likeness of the Holy Divine, that divine spark of light within us that has never been hurt or harmed, that has never experienced struggle or strife. I invite you to embrace that knowingness, to remember the truth of who you are beyond your name, age, race, religion, titles, degrees, labels. Beyond any of that, we move into a greater and grander space of our divinity, knowing it is evolutionary from the perspective of the human. And so we allow ourselves to evolve and grow, glory to greater glory, good to more good, love to more love, joy to more joy, prosperity to more prosperity, and we allow that divine impulse to so have its way that we remember we are always to be the givers, the bestowers, and the receivers of blessings. We take a moment and we speak a word of blessing this day, a new and fresh beginning that is steeped in the eternal frequency of all good. And so everyone who's tuning in right now, those who are tuning in later on the archives, I invite you to be so susceptible and so benevolently vulnerable to your good with the intention of expanding it, stretching it. We open to this, we fill and thrill with that holy light and know that the journey from the human perspective is only to regenerate, only to rejuvenate. And so we allow that energy to fill and thrill us as we bestow blessings on our family members, on our friends. We bestow blessings of wealth and health and goodness and joy and peace and clarity and compassion and understanding. We bless it upon all of our brothers and sisters of all cultures, of all races, of all religions around the world. We bless this service this morning, knowing that the light and the truth and the love of God is seeking to reveal itself in joyous and joyful ways. And we have the receptors within us to thrive in its goodness. We activate them and we allow them to be. We bless it so, we claim it so, we allow it to be so. And so it is. Amen.
Now we'll do our agape affirmation as a call and response. I'll speak a line and then we'll repeat it back together. I am resolute in the absolute presence of God as my life.
Resolute in the absolute presence of God in my life.
All of the solutions to all of my challenges are already with me.
All of the solutions to all of my challenges are already with me.
My beliefs and points of view shine the light of wisdom and compassion.
My beliefs and points of view shine the light of wisdom and compassion.
The revolutionary impulse that governs the universe propels the vision of my life.
The revolutionary impulse that governs the universe propels my life.
Prosperity, health, and right relations are my divine birthright.
Prosperity, health, and right relations are my divine birthright.
My life is a song of praise and thanksgiving.
My life is a song of praise and thanksgiving.
And so it is. Amen.
And so it is. Amen. So we have a treat for you today. We have Rena Cervantes and Jesse Godoy back for our opening song. We're really excited to have them, and we welcome you guys. Come on in, please.
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure. just the sum of every high and every low. Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Ooh, love, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short, when I don't belong. Oh, you say I am yours, and I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe the only thing that matters now is everything you think of me. In you I find my worth, in you I find my identity. Ooh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short, and when I don't belong. Oh, you say I'm yours, and I believe. Oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe, and I believe, yes, I believe what you say of me. I believe. Taking all I have, and now I'm laying here at your feet. You have every failure, God. You have every victory. Ooh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short, and when I don't belong. Oh, you say I am yours, and I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe, yeah, I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe, thank you so much.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Rena. That's one of my favorite songs and one of my favorite renditions. Rena rocked it. She really brought that home. Thank you so much to Rena and Jesse. They are awesome. We're glad to have them back. Good morning, Soul Center. I'm Reverend Keith. I'm welcoming you to our Sunday service where we're going to get our groove on. What does that mean? It means we're going to align into the groove of who we truly are, even more, evermore. That's the entire journey of the human experience. There's a spiritual nature to our beingness. There's a divine inertia that is pulling us into greatness should you choose to listen to the call. And then you avail yourself to bliss. Bliss is the nature of life. So good morning. Welcome to Soul Center OC. We would like to invite you to this Sunday service. If this is your first time joining us, we're very grateful and happy to have you here. We're also grateful to let you know that we are part of the Agape International Spiritual Center as an affiliate. We are part of that association of communities, which means we are part of the New Thought, Ageless Wisdom teachings and practice. Highlight bold practices because we practice what we preach. We allow ourselves to step and steep into the truth teachings that have been articulated around the world since the beginning of time. And as you go back, if you go back to the Hebrew Bible, the Christian Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, if you go back to any of the mystical teachings, the Tao Te Ching, if you tap into any of these, you're going to find that golden thread that speaks the language of a particular dogma of a religion. The language of truth is the same no matter where you go. The truth is the truth, and there is nothing else aside from that in terms of what brings you into revelation. So this is capital T truth, not lowercase t truth, not my truth, that I'm trying to convince you of something erroneous. It is the truth that sets you free. And so we practice in that. That's part of our community. Our community is to connect to that golden thread and allow it to pull us. That is the only thing you want to be tethered to in the time-space continuum of the human experience. Many of us get tethered to the past, to the future, to the present, to the degree that we allow fears, worries, and doubts to infiltrate and imprison us. And many of you you didn't even know you've already been in a prison cell, the prison cell of fear. And so we want to be liberated from that. So I'm going to welcome you today as we liberate ourselves. Some of us didn't know we were imprisoned by the worries, doubts, and fears that we've put away, tucked away in our subconscious, but we are here to be liberated. That aspect of life is called healing. It is healing through revelation, healing through revealing the truth. And then we get to thrive in creation. We go back and forth until we don't have to go back and forth. We only go forward in the eternal frequency of your divine nature. So if you've ever had an experience where you've had one of those aha moments, that's actually the norm. That's where we're supposed to be all the time, not as a once in a while. We're supposed to allow that to lift us, compel us, and propel us so that we may participate in creation. So welcome. It is still a beautiful August day, so that means we're still fanning the flames of the soul. That is the theme of the month, to fan the flames of the soul. We might as well make that the theme of your lifetime, because we want to fan the flames of our soul always, because your soul has things in store for you that bring you joy, that will curl your hair if it's straight and straighten your hair if it's curly, because it is so good. Good, if you really look in, and we know that good, God, and life are synonymous with each other. Good is so much better than you could possibly imagine if you only imagine with your surface mind. And I'm going to invite you to join me today to once again, if necessary, bring your imagination from horizontal viewing into vertical viewing, meaning that we don't allow the world to influence what we know and feel and see. We allow the divine, our soul, to come from vertical vision and project it out into the world. This is conscious participation in our evolution, our human evolution, where you listen to your soul, but we gotta tune to the vibration so that we can hear the still small voice. We have to be able to understand the difference between being imprisoned and impassioned. And as the topic of the day today is perspective, from being imprisoned to impassioned. Passion, the passion is the energy of the soul. When you connect with the desire of that which is seeking to express through you, you become impassioned. And oftentimes, as we move into our spiritual practice, we'll find out as we're becoming impassioned where we may have been imprisoned. Imprisoned would be when we allow fears, worries, and doubts, judgments, and labels, and titles to influence and bring lack and limitation into our world. So we want to become keenly aware, and you'll know that you've been imprisoned if you have any expressions in your vernacular such as, I can't, or there's not enough, or I don't have enough, or I don't have this, or I'm not supported. If any of that is in your vernacular, then you've been imprisoned on. We have the keys to set you free. Or more accurately, you have the keys. Just like in The Wizard of Oz when Dorothy just needed to click her heels together, that's all you need to do is click your heels to liberate yourself. You have the keys to the kingdom. You've always had it. Now, some of us liberate ourselves over here, and some of us liberate ourselves over there, but we don't pay attention to the grander picture. Now, if you look at life, there's three basic elements that we're here to do. We're here to create, to totally be in that creative expression where you have experiences. We're here to have relationships. That's the second one. And we're here to maintain that. We are to use our maintenance program to cleanse. That's our spiritual practice. We're here to create, have beautiful, amazing relationships, and to maintain them. Those are the three simple things we're supposed to do. The maintenance is what keeps you out of prison. It keeps you out of being imprisoned. But most of us, we don't look at what we're here for, the primary reasons that we are here to create, to allow ourselves to have amazing relationships, and to move deeper into the spiritual practice, which is our maintenance, because then there are the life structures that we have. And you look in life and you'll have the structures where we become aware of our career. Our career should be in alignment with the creative force of your purpose, of your calling. There's your family, for good or for bad. That is one of your life structures, your career, your family. Fun is actually part of a life structure. Fun is what brings the joy of the Spirit into your beingness. We are to have fun. We are to have fitness physically, emotionally, mentally. We are to make sure that we keep ourselves physically fit. That is tied into the maintenance of our beingness. We are to make sure we stay educated, but not educated from the carnal mind. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting your education, getting your degrees, but making sure that the divine is part of your education always so that you can discern the truth from lies. That will be the biggest thing, is to have divine right perception. And as our topic would suggest today, we're looking at our perspective. Our perspective influences every part of our lives. And we want to make sure, because our perspective influences our biology, it influences our sociology and our psychology. And we want to make sure that our biology, psychology, and sociology are in good order. Make sure that all of that is there. And so some of us, sometimes we get into a groove where we focus maybe on one area, but we don't realize that all the other areas, the fitness, the fun, the education, the being of service, we're all here to be of service. It is part of your DNA to serve other people. What that looks like is unique and brilliant to you, and it brings you joy. So if you're not serving other people right now, if you're not making sure you carve out enough time to have fun, if you're not exploring education in your life for expansion, and if you don't have a spiritual practice, which is part of maintenance, then something's out of balance. And we want to bring things into balance. So you actually want to write down on a piece of paper right now possibly, or maybe you'll review this later, but your career, your family, your fun, your fitness, your education, your being of service, and your spiritual practice. Those are areas we want to look at in our life and see, where am I with these in correlation to my creativity that wants to express through relationships that I'm having into the world, and to my spiritual practice that maintains those all in good order. In good order, I want to underscore and bold, because we want to keep everything in good order. So that is what our maintenance plan is. Now, if you can imagine not taking a shower for several days, maybe a week or a month on end, can you imagine what you might smell like if you didn't take a shower? If you don't take a shower internally, that same kind of stank and rank that you might smell if you didn't take a physical shower shows up inside your beingness. It shows up as a stank of cynicism. It shows up as a stank of pessimism. It shows up as being worried and put into a continual fight or flight response, which is releasing cortisol, the stress hormone in your body. Cortisol, when you put that on and you keep that switch on for a while, some of us walk around with a little bit of cortisol going. It's like a cortisol drip inside, because we're in that fight or flight response on a fairly regular basis. And you've become so used to it that you don't even know you're in a fight or flight response. Now, the fight or flight response is because we don't maintain, we're not cleansing and giving a good service to those structures in our lives. We're not making sure that we're having enough fun. We're not making sure that we're doing our education to grow and expand us. We're not making sure that we're keeping an eye on our relationships and our career, our being of service. We are not keeping an eye on all of that. And so then all of a sudden a stank sets in. I apologize for the graphic words, but that stank, it just really starts to putrefy inside your beingness, and it shows up as being sometimes being out of that energy, and you have a little, you're on an empty tank, and so you get short with people, or maybe you get nasty with people, or maybe if you're more of an introvert, you just shut down. Or as a lot of people are going on right now, some people are kind of experiencing depression, anxiety, and stress. That's because we're not taking care of all those structures in our lives so that we're in alignment. So our spiritual practice is what we do to be cosmically. The entire world right now is being asked to be still. It doesn't get much louder that when a pandemic comes along and says we need to self-isolate, not as a punishment, but as a way that the universe is saying, wake up. It's time to make sure you're in balance. Now, there's plenty of people right now, it's from soup to nuts, plenty of people right now that are having amazing experiences. They're enjoying this time. They're like, I've talked to some people who are like, oh yeah, I've always been in this kind of more spacious, open way of being. And so they're kind of right in alignment with that, because their spiritual practice has been already well established. And they know that whatever's going on, immediately we look for what is good, what is seeking to emerge. There's always going to be a cycle of a paradigm shift. Life is evolutionary. Life is evolutionary, and when we've been imprisoned by our subconscious erroneous ideas and thoughts, the liberator is always going to come, and the liberator is your soul. Your soul is constantly sitting there with the keys going, hey, I got the keys right here. If you just listen to the still small voice, you'll be able to say, oh, here are the keys of truth that allow me to set myself free, that might need to use forgiveness, that might need to use open to revelation of expansion. Sometimes we don't understand that there's an expansion that wants to take place, and because I am so rote in my everyday, I've gotten such a groove and a routine that I've become unaware and numb to the primordial call of it's time to expand. It's time to go up. Life is like a staircase. You're going to grow, and then you're going to enjoy, and then you're going to grow, and then you're going to enjoy. And so that's always going to happen. That's part of the cycle. Sometimes people don't look at it so much as a staircase. They look at it as a spiral, but that spiral takes you up. And when you're coming on the upswing, you grow. Then you get to go on that curve right up here where you get to enjoy, and then we're going to grow and enjoy. Those are the cycles of life. So we want to make sure that we're applying that into our relationships. Make sure that our relationships are sacred. So if I'm not in balance, if I'm not going out and having fun, if I just decide something like I did, for an example, when I was younger, there was a point where my relationship with my father was just uncomfortable enough that I just decided to gravitate away from it. Has any of you ever been in a relationship where it's not kind of working all that great? So you get to a crossroads sometimes where it's like, well, maybe I need to eliminate that person from my life. So I decided that I was going to kind of subconsciously, for the most part, eliminate my interactions with my father because I felt uncomfortable. Uncomfortable means there's something going on here that needs maintenance, that we got to get on our maintenance plan and start cleaning, do the deep cleansing, do the spring cleaning at any time of year so that we can have a catharsis and rise into a greater understanding. Now, some of us may think, if you've ever fallen prey to this idea, well, they're the one with the issue, so if they get their act together and they become less self-centered, less egomaniacal, less misogynist, they get their act together, then I'll be okay with that. Now, some of us, we do that healthy boundary thing where we separate, and there is a time for us to do that, where we separate from somebody. But if you aren't using the maintenance plan, if you aren't using your spiritual practice to cleanse, what did that relationship evoke in you? What were the feelings that were evoked in there that need cleansing? I need to take that internal shower to cleanse out any of the judgment, because a spiritually enlightened being is not going to judge someone else. They're not going to condemn them or make them wrong. That doesn't mean they're asleep at the wheel. Doesn't mean they're in some airy-fairy state where they're like, oh, it's all good. It means that they have discernment that is so steeped that they can hold the person who might be exhibiting bad behavior. They can hold for them what they couldn't hold for themselves. They can hold them in divine right alignment. So sometimes we start with that healthy boundary where I need to separate myself from the other person because when I'm with them, it pulls me down. So I separate myself. Now this is different. This is different than I'm cutting you out of my life because there's something wrong with you, and so I'm going to just leave you out and go over here because there's perspectives in there that are imprisoning you from your passion, which it may not make linear sense as to how that is, but any perspective you have affects every area of your life. There's not one part of your life that isn't affected by the other parts of your life. We are holistic beings, and anything affects everything. And so we want to make sure that as we look, that we're here to create. We're here to have amazing relationships. We're here to maintain all of this, and that all of those areas of our lives we want to look at. And that's why we look out into our life structures and we take a temperature to see where we are in all of this. Where am I with my family? There's a lot of that going on actually in the world. You'd be surprised how many people have dysfunctional families to whatever degree. I don't know, but it's out there from soup to nuts, from large to small, and we want to make sure wherever we are in there that there's an intention within your beingness and within your bones to make it right, because there's no discord, no disharmony, and no opposition in the divine. In the divine, everyone is thriving in a sacred, holy relationship. So we want to make sure that our relationships are holy and sacred, and we do that by keeping our energy clear. We make sure that we look as we take a temperature of how I'm being of service in the world, how I'm making sure I am having fun in the world, that we participate in that balance. Because when you are too identified with one area of life, let's say you're so obsessed with your career that you just do. Have you ever met anybody who's just been so obsessed with their career? That's all they do. And they have excuses like, well, but I got to work on this. I got to make sure that this is successful. I got to make sure that is successful. And they kind of sometimes that shows up as neglecting children. Sometimes it shows up as neglecting a spouse or a friend because it's out of balance. there's not balance in there. So we want to make sure that we are co-creating in a balanced and harmonious way, that each area of our life, these life structures, and nobody's left out of this equation. You got to make sure, and what we're looking for is authenticity and harmony in all of these areas, because they all feed each other. This is part of the maintenance, the spiritual maintenance of our beingness. So we move, we have our prayer practice, we have our meditation practice, we have our visioning practice, and we bring those energies out into the world in our relationships with our family, with our friends, with how we're being of service into the world, and remembering that all of that we're cultivating and we're bringing it into a higher vibration. So sometimes we get an impulse, we're like, ooh, this is where I need to be of service. And then it's like, okay, and it feels really good, and you got all the warm spiritual fuzzies flowing through your beingness. You've connected with the call of your soul, and then all of a sudden you go out into the world and you start to serve in whatever way that your soul was calling you to serve. But what you didn't know, that your soul also knew that when you're going to serve, you're going to stumble across something that needs to be healed. And then you're going to maybe see that thing that needs to be healed as a challenge. And then you're going to take that challenge and you're going to misunderstand and misinterpret it as, oh, this is challenging. I guess I'm not supposed to do this. No, something needs to be healed. Because if you go back and you sit and you be still, you'll find out, oh, wait a minute. I have a challenge with this because of this and this and this, and as I go into my maintenance plan and I cleanse it, then I can proceed with how I'm being of service into the world, unencumbered by the cortisol that was creating that stress energy in my beingness, and I can open up and I can allow the serotonin to flow freely through my beingness. Your body is an amazing machine. It is absolutely incredible that the pineal gland, somewhere kind of in the behind your eyes, but down in the center towards the back, is about the size of a piece of rice. You wouldn't believe how powerful. If you ever wanted to know that size doesn't matter, take a look at the pineal gland, because it affects a huge amount of your beingness. It releases the serotonin. When we wake up in the morning, if you're on your maintenance plan, you'll feel that serotonin bringing you up into vibrancy. You'll go into your meditation and you'll feel the joy and the delight of those hormones more moving through your beingness. And then at night, it's pretty incredible that as you get ready for bed, that same pineal gland is going to release the melatonin that allows you to go to bed to sleep and to rejuvenate. The reason I'm describing all of that is because it's inherently built into your biology to have balance. Everything was conspired within your body. All the organs know how to communicate with each other, all the ligaments and the joints. When you think of the millions of ligaments, joints, tissues, and cells in your body that all cooperate, I just want to take a step forward. Do you know how many things need to take place in order for my feet and legs, my hips and torsos and arms to be able to carry me forward in balance? It is mind-boggling to know that we don't have to be engineers to understand how. We just do it. We allow the will of our beingness to compel us and propel us forward. And that all of that is happening on such a brilliant level, the universal intelligence that created all of this. Then we come along and sometimes we get in the way of that perfect functioning. We get in the way of the communication between the heart and the brain. We get in the way of the communication between the stomach, the adrenals, and other parts of our business. And we create disharmony and discord because of our lack of maintenance. If you never took your car in to be maintenance, you'd have some problems. You'd find out one day, you'd go to press on the brakes, and they might not be there because you didn't maintain the car. You got to maintain everything in the physical world needs maintenance until you've maintained yourself to such a degree that you've transcended the carnal world, the temporal world, and you're living from pure life force energy. When the Amrit nectar begins to flow from the roof of your mouth and you no longer need food, you no longer need water, you can live off of life force. This is what mystical living is when you rise and you evolve into this, and everyone is headed there, and then eventually you'll rise even above that. You'll rise into a space where you can be free. To be in the world but not of the world means you are not bound by time, space, condition, or circumstances. So we use our maintenance plan to evolve us and become aware and move from a perspective on life into a divine right perception. And as it says in the Hebrew Bible, the eye of the lamp, the eye is the lamp of the body. And therefore, if your eye be bright, your whole body be bright. The eye is the lamp of the body, and therefore, if your eye be bright, your whole body be bright, means that you have divine right perspective. You have divine right perception, that you're allowing yourself to see the truth. If interpreting the world through truth is bright, then your life, the body, your life is bright. And so we want to make sure that we keep our eye light lit and bright through our practice, through our daily meditation and prayer, our communion with Spirit. But many of us get very involved. We get very involved in the trappings of time and space. Gotta do this, gotta do that. Gotta get that cortisol racing through my beingness so I can create more aging. Like, no. Aging is what we do to ourselves when we're in worry and stress. When we're in balance, we can feel that beautiful flow of all those natural endorphins and hormones that move through our beingness and keep us in balance. It is absolutely brilliant to participate in that. So we want to make sure that we're participating by setting the intention of divine right perception so that our perspectives are brought into alignment. This is the maintenance of our beingness. This is how we turn within. We make sure, so for example, years ago I was working with a client who was having a difficulty in one area of her life. She was seeking to, her goal, her intention at the time was to get married and have children. She felt a little bit of the pressure of the biological clock. And so she had come in and she was like, okay, we're going to go ahead. And we started to explore, and we noticed that some of her relationships in life were a little bit not congruent with peace and love. She had a little bit of distance in her family. Her mother had kind of disowned her and didn't think that any of that had to do with anything about meeting her soulmate and of allowing herself to get married and to have children. She thought none of that's like, oh no, that's over there. But anything in your life affects everything in your life. And so all of a sudden we started to dig in, and we found out that there was some trauma in her life. She had been sexually abused by her uncle when she was a young girl, but that had been suppressed in her subconscious to the degree that she didn't actually remember it. And it wasn't until we did the deep inner work where we discovered that that had happened, which is what created the distance with her family, because she started to believe that something was wrong with her. So something that got etched, that needed maintenance, that didn't get taken care of at the time. There was some dirt, some grime that had gone in there. Dirt and grime is untruth. It is lies. Part of the untruth and lies was she was dirty, that there was something wrong with her, that she was not deserving, because why would somebody abuse me if I'm this beautiful angel? There must be something horribly wrong. And as we got in and we cultivated that, and the only way you're going to have true liberation from something like this, true liberation from anything, is to allow God to enter in and allow you to be illuminated with divine right perception, to allow God to return the years the locusts have eaten, meaning that no matter how bad or how horrible, and it would be bad and horrible to be about 5 or 6 years old and to have somebody sexually abuse you, that would be about as bad as it gets to some degree. And to have that happen and then be this sweet little angel who then turns it in on themselves as an introvert and makes themselves wrong and bad. She didn't actually even make the perpetrator wrong and bad. She had somehow along the way already forgiven him. So we did the inner work and we started to do the maintenance. And as soon as that energy was cleared, as soon as divine right perception changed her perspective on her own beingness, 6 months later, she met the gentleman that 1 year later she married, and that 2 years later had her first of 3 children. All of it came into alignment as we started to use healing to cleanse what had happened, and that was because there was erroneous perspective, not influenced by divine right perception, that was keeping her imprisoned from the very thing that she was impassioned about. Now I want to highlight being impassioned. There was something in her beingness that was like, I just feel the call. I feel the call to be a mom. She just felt it so deep in her bones. And prior to the liberation, she just felt like everywhere she went, like there was some big field of energy that was just propelling every man away from her. And she was adorable and sweet and kind, an angel, an earth angel, a true earth angel. And when that liberation came, it was like, here we go. And it took a little maintenance. We had to go in. This was retroactive maintenance. So imagine how wonderful it would be. So for however many years that was affecting her, that kept her away from her good. Now the good news is, the minute you say, in God, all things are made new, you can experience what it means. So, you know, I use this expression a lot, the returning the years of the locusts of Eden. So the locusts came, they destroyed the crops, they ate everything, and the farmer was left with nothing. And all of a sudden his money was dried up, his farm was dried up, everything was going into despair, and he was hungry and starving and trying to do everything on his own. He planted those crops. He made it all happen with willpower, willpower. He was using effort and carnal might to make things happen. But when he finally said, I need help, and he turned to the divine, it was like all the angels were like, well, it's about time. It's about time you turned within to get the help, because free will can imprison you. I'm telling you, free will can be a dirty bird sometimes. It can imprison you if you keep choosing to move further and further away from your true nature. We are to move closer and closer to our true nature, which is the very meaning, glory to greater glory. We move into that glory and we allow it to be good. That we are on that maintenance plan that allows us to be here and do what we're here to do, to co-create magnificent experiences in brilliant and beautiful relationships where you're just like, oh my God. I want you to imagine every relationship in your life being magnificent. Bring the most horrible relationship you ever had into your mind and cleanse it. Go into the maintenance program of your beingness. Connect with your soul, with the divine. Clear that energy. Bring it into a sacred space, and you will experience in your own place and space the experience of returning the years the locusts have eaten, born anew, made fresh in your life. This is what we want to do. It was so incredible. And the best thing about it is, when she met this gentleman, it was such a... We did a lot. We did more than just clearing that. We also got very clear on what are the qualities, what are the energy. We started to co-create. Now, this is where we want to be very clear on how we're participating in creation. Creation means if you had nothing to heal, you would co-create and everything would be magnificent. But oftentimes, whatever your definition is about any particular area of life is being influenced by something that imprisoned you earlier on, so we clean all that. And that's why we do our affirmations. That's why we get very clear on our declarations. That's why we want to make sure our definition of what a marriage is. A marriage isn't the Tom thing from a needy place. A marriage is something that is so complementary, that is so filled with reverence and respect, that is so filled with kindness. It is nurturing. And remember, nurturing is one of my favorite words in the English language, because nurturing means that everything necessary for you to thrive and bring it out of you is there. And you allow it. You allow yourself to be nurtured, because nurturing creates empowerment. And empowerment is what we're looking for. We're looking to be set free so that we are no longer imprisoned, that we are impassioned with divine right perspective. This is what we are claiming to do today. So I'm inviting you to join me as we move into the prayer field. We move into the prayer field, and as it says in A Course in Miracles, Love waits on welcome, not on time. Because, some of us, we have that old expression kind of etched in our mind, time heals all wounds. Welcome heals all wounds. Love waits on welcome. God, you got to welcome it in. That's what the prayer of evocation is. So we're going to welcome in, and we're going to allow the maintenance, and we're going to take that internal shower and be so diligent, just like we are with our external showers, and we're going to allow ourselves to be clean and impassioned in every area of our life. And remember that you're going to take note that your career, your family, your fun, your education, your being of service, we're bringing that all into balance with our maintenance program, our spiritual practice. So you're going to take and join with me right now as we move into that field, and we open the welcome mat. The welcome mat to the divine. We set as the Aramaic word for prayers, we set the trap. The trap is welcome. That's all it is. Welcome, God. I'm here. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. And you're only going to heareth good news, the gospel. So we open our hearts, our bodies, our minds, our souls right here, right now. We just soften, we breathe, we relax. For there is no efforting in divine maintenance. There is no efforting in opening the door with the welcome mat. There is no efforting in the invitation for transmutation. And so we open to this field, and we allow ourselves to commune with God Almighty, God all good. And we know that omnipresence, that omnipotence, that omniamorous, all the loving light that is everywhere, that is always seeking to pull us into a greater and grander experience of ever-expanding good that you could possibly imagine. And that's why we say, we heareth you, because we're allowing ourselves to be pulled by the golden cord that lifts us to glory to greater glory. So I'm grateful to know that as we steep and step into a greater and grander experience of knowing who and whose we are, as divine emanations of the Most High, knowing that we are the chosen ones because we are choosing to remember that we are born in the image and likeness of God. We choose to know that in our toes, in the arches, in the ankles, in the heels, in the kneecaps, in your hip bones, in your intestines, in your stomach, in your heart, in your shoulders. Know the presence of God in your emotions, in your mind, and mostly we want to bring that light into the subconscious. We allow our subconscious to be infiltrated with revelation, the truth that sets us free, right here, right now. We allow that. We move into this prayer field, this evocation, this invitation, and we allow ourselves to be so available to revelation. This is what allows us to move from being imprisoned to impassioned. And so I'm grateful to speak this word, knowing that each of us is saying yes to a greater and grander experience of good, of love, of peace, of joy. And as we hold it for ourselves, and we see the structures of our lives where we have fun, where our relationships are sacred and holy, where our body, temple, our emotions and mind is filled with radiant homeostatic wellness, where every part of our career is imbued with passion. And if we're not on that career that is imbued with passion, we align to it right now. We allow the divine inertia to pull us into a greater and grander vision and version of our lives than ever before. We say yes to this, we acquiesce, we yield to the presence, and we allow it to be good. And we allow our relationship with ourself, the self-love and the worthiness to know that we are the beloved in whom God is so pleased. We proclaim it and declare it and allow it right now. And so I'm grateful to know that something wonderful has taken place, that we have allowed a greater and grander influence, effect, knowingness, and beingness to rise from within us and to wash out from us. And we hold into this space where we know nothing is against us and everything is for us. Because cooperation is the nature of life, love is the nature of life, peace is the nature of life. We claim it so, we allow it to be so, we anchor it so, and we expand it so by saying in deep and abiding thanksgiving, devotional appreciation, and so I let it be, and so it is. Amen, 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 Ashe, Shalom, Mahalo, Hallelujah. Ah, ground the energy. Bring it all the way down. Bring the prayer down through your beingness as we come back into this space of grace. And we just rejoice in gratitude. Gratitude is a clear marker, a hallmark that you're on the right path. When you're spontaneously in gratitude, you know something good is happening. So we are grateful in this moment to know we've come to that part in our service of conscious circulation of prosperity and generosity, that which we call tithing, the highest vibration of prosperity when it comes to finances. Because we're putting our money where our mouth is, we're seeing the promise in the promissory note where it says, "In God we trust." And we're circulating it, knowing it is God's good pleasure to replenish your source, to give. But we must be that which is in alignment with those laws. We must circulate. So we are circulating, and I'm truly grateful once again for anybody who may have been gone through a time during this pandemic where they've been furloughed. There's an opportunity seeking to lift you into a greater experience of impassioned living. So we're holding that for you. We hold in our prayer consciousness on a regular basis this for you. I'm grateful for those of you who have contributed a little bit extra during this time to pick up the slack. We really appreciate it. We continue to hold for our new space because we're coming back. And when we come back, we would love to be in our new space to rejoice in this new paradigm that is seeking to birth itself. And we see that as our new home. So please take this moment to join as we hold our tithe. And we can participate in that by going to soulcenteroc.com and pressing on the donate button. You just scroll down a little bit to the bottom of the screen, press on the donate button. You can also right now go to area code. You can dial on your cell phone, your smartphone, area code 669-342-2157. You can text the word give to area code 669-342-2157. That's the way you can tithe. You can also, on our website, if you want to mail in a check, you can find our snail mail address and mail it in there. We would love for that. We appreciate that. And as you're preparing your tithe and pressing that donate button, I'm going to invite the beloved, the brilliant, the magnificent Rena and Jesse to come back and bless us with their gifts as they bring song.
Thank you once again, Soul Center, for having us and for being part of this experience on Sunday with us. It's an immensely grounding experience, healing experience. I don't know about you guys, but I feel very grateful to be here, to share my gift, and for you to be receptive to that. So thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Jerome. Thank you, Reverend Keith. And thank you, Jessica. And here's one of my favorite songs as a gift to you. You call me out on the water, the great unknown, where feet they fail, and there I find you in the mystery, oceans deep, my faith will stand. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. I am yours, and you are mine. soul will rest in your embrace. I am yours. You are mine. And you are mine, Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you will call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of the Spirit. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you will call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Spirit. One time. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you will call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of the oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. I am yours, and you are mine. And you are mine. Thank you.
Oh, wow. That was incredible. I mean, Rena, you knocked that out of the park. Jesse, the combo of your voices together, it just melted my heart. That got me. I'm hoping it got you too. It was just so deep. It's time to bless our offering. So again, if you would like to text GIVE to area code 669-342-2157 in appreciation and in participation of the art of circulation and tithing, we'd appreciate that. We hold you in ever-expanding good with regards to that. We know that anything that you do for us is being done for you. This is the very nature of circulation. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to bless our tithe, our offering, and we invite you to extend your prayers, your heart through your hands. And we take a moment in deep and abiding gratitude, knowing that ever infinite supply of all good is always available to us, even as time, even as prosperity. And so we are grateful to know that we have more than enough time, more than enough resources, more than enough prosperity for all of our dreams to come true individually and collectively. And we know that those dreams are tied to the vision that God Almighty has to do to, through, and as us individually and as our community. So we call forward and know that we are available to this good as it effulgently and brilliantly splishes and splashes all over to us and through us and for us as all needs met right here, right now. We claim it so, we let it be so. Amen. All right, we're getting ready to close out our service with our peace song. So I'm going to invite Jesse and Rita to come back in so they can lead us out in that wave of brilliance. If there are any children you need to go grab from another room, please go grab them, bring them in. We're all going to energetically hold hands as we move into our closing song. So Rita, Jesse, come on in.
Thank you again. We hope that you're having a wonderful Sunday. It's such a pleasure to be here with you once again. So let's sing together.